Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to another episode of Bento Bureau, the show where we talk about Japan from an international perspective. My name is my name. My name is also Basim Hijazi, but you can call me Buzz as a nickname. With me are my fellow co-hosts, my good friends, Mr. Long Nguyen from Vietnam. Why is it showing that? That's strange. Where's Bastion? Bastion's gone! Everything's going to hell today. Where is he? Whoa! We got some weird things. Here's our guest, actually. Bastion, we're gonna bring you back in a moment. But for the time being, let me introduce my guest, since we're already having some technical issues. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to fix those momentarily, and you'll be able to see Bastion's lovely face. So, I'd like to introduce today's guest, Shira Putrinda. Shira grew up in Indonesia, moved to Japan when she was 18, and has lived in Japan for about 10 years, where she received her Bachelor of Social Science in International Governance at Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University, also known as APU. Needless to say, she's been quite active in Japan. Outside of her studies, she's practiced Arauma, a traditional dance from Aomori, facilitating a lot of intercultural activities in her spare time, worked as a teacher, and of course, 6 years experience working at Mitsubishi Motors. A lot of things to talk about here, Shira. Without me getting too in-depth, I want to give you a chance to share more about that. So first, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today? How are you? How about we start with that question? How are you? That's awesome. Well, we typically like to start the show just by asking, how, you lived in Japan for 10 years, but what was the first one like when you first went there? Why did you decide to make the move from Indonesia? Yeah, he is, finally. No one can hear Shira. Oh, that's fantastic. Wait, why not? Wait, try and speak. Oh, that's strange. That is strange. Give us a moment, ladies and gentlemen. For some reason, the software is not cooperating with me today. I don't think that's necessary, really. I think we can. Don't worry, I'm about to fix it.
But
Should be
it's
fixed now.
okay, should be fixed now. I'm
Okay.
gonna check it out on the live stream, huh? So, shall we start over? So, Shira as well, we kind of met a few months ago already, and
Right.
we kind of course, shared the interest of Japan and having lived there, so that's kind of nice. So, perhaps and we shared our experiences of being in Japan for the first time. So maybe we try to start over again and see if this time
Yeah, no
you
worries.
can be heard by our viewers. So, tell us a bit about why you came to Japan and what your expectations were before you actually went.
Yeah, I've been always interested in international relations. I hope you can hear this right now. Is
Yes, they
it
can.
fixed already?
Let's see.
So, well, my image is Japan is Asia's window to the world, and I wanted to experience international environment, learning new cultures, learning new language. Luckily, I had the opportunity to study in Japan with scholarships at Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University. So I'm like, yes, let's go to Japan. Let's see cherry blossoms. Let's enjoy all of this high technology
I love cherry blossoms.
environment, and I came to Beppu.
Mhm.
That was your first stop?
Yes, I
Oh.
arrived in Fukuoka airport, and then by bus we went to Beppu. And because I came from Jakarta, I have different image of a city. So it was green on the way from Fukuoka airport to Beppu. It was like, oh, so many mountains. Wow, 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 wow. And when I arrived in Beppu, I was expecting more of a city.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a small town. A lot of people, a lot of Japanese people that in their, for example, 60s, 70s, 80s, and there are smokes everywhere. And I remember I once asked the senpai that I have, what are they? And they say, it's a hot spring, it's an onsen. Okay, okay. And yeah, so yeah, I had a lot of expectations, but fortunately, the university is very international. So I could meet a lot of people from different countries, from the US, Europe, Africa, other countries in Asia. And also, I could make Japanese friends. Like, in the beginning, I was living in a dorm, so we shared a room with my sharemate. Her name is Mami. And now we've been friends for almost 11 years. From her, from when I was not able to speak any Japanese, to her kind of encouraged me to learn and teach me Japanese. And now we're like in circle groups of friends with 10 people who are everywhere in Japan and also in the world, but we still keep in touch. And yeah, I really, it's such a great experience and
So,
beyond the expectations.
oh, that's nice to hear.
Yeah. Oh, you
Are you
did?
kidding?
Yes, we all got on the car and we
Oh,
went around trying to find some hot springs to go to.
It's kind
Oh,
of this
there Boss has a
vibe,
picture.
right?
Nice, yes.
hey.
What's all that smoke? Are those the hot springs?
Yeah, that was the hot
Yeah,
spring.
yeah.
Especially when you go up to the mountain, it'll be just foggy because of the hot spring.
Yeah.
Yes,
Man.
It looks like the whole city is actually on fire, but
Yeah. No, but they have an area called Jigoku.
yeah, hell,
Jigoku.
right?
Yeah, hell. Yeah.
Oh, that Jikok.
Yeah, that is Jigoku. Yeah.
So APU is quite far out, right? It's up the mountain, isn't it? So every time I assume you take the bus, you will see the whole city kind of lying there with all the smoke.
Right.
Oh, nice. That must
Yeah,
be really
it's really
pretty.
beautiful city from the campus. Like, we have these stairs which overlooking Beppu City, and also Oita city, and it's so beautiful from there.
But
It's yeah,
life in the campus of APU is a bit boring, isn't it? Because it's up on a mountain, and like your access to any form of entertainment would take you.
yeah,
How
it
long is
was
it to take a bus from the campus to down to the city?
downtown. We call it no. There's we call it Gekai. So if you know, Gekai is like if you're in the over the clouds and the downtown is like Gekai. It's about 40 minutes.
You studied in Japanese or English at APU?
First in English, and then there are Japanese classes credits that I had to take, and then I took some classes in Japanese too in the third year of my study.
Yeah. So in your first year, what was like your main kind of reference of studies? I know you had your friend, but you know, what was the main way you were kind of getting accustomed to the language and the culture? What was, your activities on a daily basis?
Yeah, so on daily basis, right? Because we used to live in a dorm, and the dorm was only 15 minutes walk to the campus. So we usually go back and forth to the dorm and university, and we studied together with the classmates in the library, and also we have Japanese class. So that's where we kind of built the first friendships with the other students from different countries, like in China, Korea, Vietnam, and Thailand. So yeah, so we're kind of all of these international students from different countries struggling to learn Japanese in one class, which was it was fun. It was fun. But for the Chinese and Korean, for them, learning Japanese are like probably easier than for Indonesian and Thai or Vietnamese.
I do
kind of
remember that,
restart.
yeah. I remember all the Chinese speakers, with the kanji tests, it was just a piece of cake for them. Like there's a different kind of skill set there. But it doesn't necessarily mean they actually speak fluently, though, based on what I've, seen. It's like they can read and probably write as well, but when it comes to actually speaking, they kind of like, not all of them, of course, but like I have noticed in my class, there were a lot of Chinese who were struggling, actually, even though they would get like, they would pass with flying colors, which is why I think, tests like the N1 and stuff is a little bit flawed in that sense, because they don't have a speaking component, right?
Right.
So I always felt that was a bit weird compared to taking like the IELTS or the TOEIC's a bit weird as well.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so that was your first time abroad, right?
Right.
Being by yourself, studying. But you studied at APU for 4 years and you decided to stay, it seems.
Yeah.
So you must have definitely enjoyed it to a certain extent. What did you do afterwards? I mean, Buzz kind of gave a short introduction of yourself, but maybe you can tell us a bit on how you got into Mitsubishi and how your journey progressed there.
Right. Yeah, so in Japan, you usually do job hunting 1 year before you graduate. So a lot of companies came to APU doing seminar or introduction to the company, and Mitsubishi came. And since I've been studying for years and I could also develop my Japanese language skill, I thought it will be a waste if I go back to Indonesia right away. I want to gain professional experience. I want to know the real world or the shakai.
Shakaijin mitai, ne?
Yeah, of the Japanese society. So I applied, and during the job hunting, I was applying to manufacturing or infrastructure or companies that can have like an impact in economic development. And I landed the job in Mitsubishi Motors. My first role after a long battle of job hunting in Japan was overseas sales representative for Asian market, which is Indonesia. I think that's also why they hire me. They wanted to develop business in Indonesia. They want to expand their business to Indonesia. So I was kind of the perfect person that could speak Indonesian, Japanese, and English. So yeah, my first year in Mitsubishi is all about learning. We went to the factory to learn about how car is manufactured.
Cool.
We were there for 2 months. We literally wearing a uniform, like as the other workers in the factory, and then helping them to work to build an engine.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really cool. So everyone does that? They go through the same
Yeah.
process of.
Yes, they go through the same process.
So can you tinker now with the car a bit?
Yes, yeah, that was the first year, and then as it's car company, we always join motor show, and in Tokyo there's like once in 2 years Tokyo Motor Show, which held in the big site near Odaiba. So they were looking for volunteers who can support and become the, I don't know, like explaining the general about the company. So I was there in Tokyo Motor Show wearing a uniform as an employee of Mitsubishi Motors, explaining to the guests that came. And also, yeah, in the first year we also go to elementary school as a volunteer, and then we explain about recycling. We explain about how the electric vehicle works, how can it contribute to society. So it's also kind of the things that they promoted for newcomers, like whether you want to volunteer to do something outside the role of your own position, to learn more about the company. And yeah, that was the first year in Mitsubishi Motors. And then the next assignment was project management in Indonesia. So they wanted to build a factory, invest in a factory and a new product that has a big demand in Indonesian market, which is MPV. So it's like a 7-seat car, like a family car. And so I was in charge of this factory investment project. I was coordinating the project, and we were working together with different all kind of departments that is essential to build an overseas production project. So I often have some like meetings with the, for example, after sales department or the production department, which is based in Okazaki. It's where our factory is. We have several factories. And so it kind of developed my project management skills and the leadership skill to like move around different kind of people from different team, and then make them coordinate together towards the same goal, which is to build a factory in Indonesia. I also had the opportunity to welcome former Ministry of Industry and Ambassador of Indonesia to Japan to our factory in Okazaki. So I had a business trip there, and we welcomed them. And yeah, we're building relationship with the officials, government officials.
That sounds very impressive. I mean, you set up the whole kind of factory by yourself in a way, and then try to, manage to get people there to show them around and everything.
Right. Yeah, it was a great experience, and of course I was supporting the other departments and the managers in the company, and sometimes translate from Japanese to Indonesian during the meeting with the officials. Right. Yeah.
So it seems
And
that you do a lot of work related to Indonesia and Japan and trade and everything, right?
yes, exactly. Yes, but after that, I was in charge for the European market. I told one of my big boss that, oh yeah, I want to learn more about electric vehicle and how does the sales and marketing work in those in that product. So I landed the next position in 2017 as a it's like a sales person in charge, like for a country. So we can call it country sales manager, or I think every company has different way of saying those roles. And I was in charge for Switzerland and Greece. So I was mainly negotiating business plan and sales plan with our distributors, importers, and in Europe. And we also welcome the dealer owners from Switzerland, from like really small cities all over. Wait, Switzerland. I'm not sure what is happening. Did I got
You're
cut?
still here.
You're still here with us.
Okay.
You're still here.
Okay. Because I have like this something coming out saying join call, so I was
Oh, I would
Stop
say
that,
just,
Skype.
I don't know, ignore that, I guess.
yeah, you sure?
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah, because you're here. I mean, everything's working. But like, as someone who's working for a vehicle manufacturing company, I mean, how would you commute to the office? Would you take the train or would you actually drive?
Yeah,
I
we
was trying to
drive
ask you.
our own car. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Well,
Just checking, just wondering. So yeah, I
But
presume
do
you
they
take
have such
the.
a policy is that they would sponsor you a car if you maybe if you're in a higher position.
yeah. If you're in a higher management position, they will definitely sponsor you a car.
There you go.
But as I was kind of far away from the higher
Yeah.
management position.
So what was the
so-
dynamic like working in the office as an Indonesian who speaks multiple languages? Like, what are the backgrounds of the people you were working with most closely? Were they all Japanese? Were you kind
Yeah.
of, so you were the
Yeah.
kind of one who was like the person who kind of stands out, right?
Yeah, especially when I was in charge for Indonesian project, I was the only foreigner in the project. And as maybe a lot of you already know, Japanese working culture is very hierarchical. So there's stairs or steps for decision making. You cannot really, if you want to propose an idea, you will have to get 4 or 5 people to accept that.
Yeah.
And then, so you will set a meeting one by one and then convince them. And then after completed that, after you pass that checkpoint, you will again try to convince the upper position of the department of the organization. So it's not as fast as startups for sure.
Yeah.
It's very I would say
Traditional.
for people who are more into fast pace or more dynamic way of working, probably some of them wouldn't fit
Yeah.
into this culture.
So when you were job hunting, I mean, I guess at least for us, when we were in TIU, and we were studying there, we kind of had this impression of traditional Japanese companies. We always had this impression, even though we didn't really have much experience working in them. We always had this impression just from studying in school that, most of these companies are very hierarchical, as you say, and they do require a lot of, bureaucratic work. Did you have that impression going into Mitsubishi? And like when you were job hunting, were you looking for a specific type of dynamic, or like would you have preferred something smaller, more faster? Like what made you decide on Mitsubishi?
I want to add to that as well with I heard a lot of stories of my friend who were making a decision just to go back to their country without doing the job hunting because of all the stories that they heard about the working conditions or all these hierarchical working environments. So how did you go through that and continue to do job hunting?
Right. Yes. Well, when I was doing the job hunting, I was looking at a company who have global business so that I can have opportunity not only in Japan, but also overseas and all over the world. So that was kind of my main criteria. This hierarchy or like, so I didn't really have the image that, for example, Mitsubishi Motors would be such a, well, it's a Japanese company. I think even if a Japanese company joint venture with overseas company, the foreign companies, there will still be a Japanese company. But I thought it will be more global. But I was more looking at the opportunities to go beyond Japan. So yeah, that's what I see. And also, as they have an electric vehicle product, I was attracted with the ambition of contributing something to the society through the solution of creating a vehicle with less CO2 emission or almost no emissions.
Was that your motivation
So,
to go into the e-motor business then? You wanted to have something, like you had the feeling of contributing something meaningful to the world, to humanity in a way.
Yeah, that was kind of my main motivations when I joined the company. Right. Yeah,
Okay.
and how did I survive working in a Japanese company?
Yeah. How did you
That
survive?
was the question from Long, right?
Kind of like that, yeah. This is dedicated to Jess, our friends. Remember how he went through that job in.
But I also,
I'm sorry, I was talking about Jess, our friend who he went to office job in Shinjuku and then he just quit it right after because of the work environment. So this question is dedicated to him.
yeah, I think even my friends from the university, a lot of them decided to go back to their country, despite of staying in Japan for more than 2 years after landing job in the company. There are a lot of cases like that. But what I found in the company that I was working for is, sure, there are hierarchy, sure, the bureaucracy can be challenging sometimes, even for the foreigners, but the people there are very welcoming to me. So I kind of felt that I was one of them. Like I was not the outsider in the company. So maybe the fact that I could develop personal network with the people in the company also kind of changed the dynamic of our motivation at the work, and the project itself, like being able to contribute in building a factory, creating a job opportunity in Indonesia was really it was a big motivation for me to stay and working with the Japanese working culture, despite what other people said. And I wanted to build professional experience in Japan to really know what it feels like. But yes.
So Shira, you worked for Mitsubishi 6 years, right?
Yes, I was
6.
working for 6 years.
Okay. Why did you decide to leave? Oh, maybe we start with the picture Buzz just showed. Sorry. Good
Oh,
point.
wow.
I just changed picture. Oh.
Are you able to see this, Shira?
Ah, yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I was
yes,
just
yeah.
showing the presentation you prepared for us. A very nice presentation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I actually
you can
didn't
see
check
here.
that.
Wow.
She's made a little PDF of her journey, where she kind of starts her journey with Mitsubishi. So she starts with 2013. So where is this, Shira? Is this? Oh, this is the Tokyo Motor Show.
Right.
Motor
Right.
show 13.
And who's this standing here on the left?
So yeah, on the left photo is Prime Minister Abe, and on the top photo is the former Indonesian president, Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono. I went to a conference or seminar that was talking about Japan and Indonesia relations and the forecast of Indonesia business until 2024. So yeah, it was one of the seminar in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what's it like working at a motor show? Like, are you there presumably all day? I'd imagine. Like, what does that entail exactly?
It was, yeah, working in a motor show. So my role was just to support and explain in general about the company, and then to kind of point, okay, if you want to talk about the engine, the person in charge is this person there. I can bring you there. There are a lot of people bringing a very big camera, and then they will, even though you're not the person who is, there are people who is, I don't know how to say it in English. Like there's a ladies who's usually do the pose with the cars.
Models?
Yeah, the models.
Mhm.
But despite your role is not that, people will just like take pictures of you next to the car, which I found really odd.
That sounds odd, to be honest.
And
And
is this also in the motor show, the one on the left from 2014?
No, that was the former Minister of Industry, so the Shinkansen is the one that I rode from Tokyo to Okazaki, and we were welcoming there in Okazaki. Okazaki is in Nagoya Prefecture, so it's one of the factory visit that I was helping.
and you at the podium?
So every year we had this global distributors meeting, and I was the MC of the reception event. And because we welcome more than 200 business partners all over the world to Japan, and then in the first session we will have like this business meeting talking about strategies, and in the second session is more like a light reception where everybody is like networking and stuff. So I was chosen as an MC for that.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of responsibility in your first.
And were you speaking in English on during that panel, or that when you were on the podium, since you have a lot of international?
I was speaking in English for the reception.
Yeah. And as you progressed throughout the years, I mean, what was kind of like the seminal takeaway of each year? Like let's look at 2016, for instance. How different was it as a female worker after a few years working in Mitsubishi, what was like that? What was that like for you in Mitsubishi here, and what's going on in this picture?
Yes, after a few years. So usually I think a lot of people that experience working in a big corporation or big companies wouldn't be able to get assigned in such a big project. But I think with the skill sets that I have, I was lucky to be able to get beyond that. Even though, like, technically speaking about the position, I was not in like, there was not any promotion or something. It's just you are working in a bigger role than what compared to what usual people do. And in the picture, yeah, it was when I was in Indonesia when we were building this factory investment project. I met on the top side, I met the ambassador of Japan to Indonesia, and the picture at the bottom, it was the Minister of Industry. So I was with the chairman and the CEO and all of the executive management that came to Indonesia to kind of have talks with these officials. So yeah, I was boarding them and also kind of arranging their schedule, and yeah.
Wow, good stuff.
And then 2017 is also there.
Yeah, 2017. 2017 was when the Expander, it was the name of the MPV car, which is now one of the biggest market share in Indonesian market.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yes.
What's
Yeah,
appealing about this car for the Indonesian market, you think?
It is well perceived, for sure, because I think timing wise, when the product was launched, it was a very great timing because the competitors, they had their already MPV cars, but then it was kind of old, and then this product kind of entered the market in the right timing. So when people already bored with the other cars, it's like, oh, great design, and really, because in Indonesia, Mitsubishi has a great image, and also people see it as a good quality of Japanese car. So a lot of people liked it, and it was very successful product launch because how they developed the car is based on a long market research of demand of Indonesian people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And moving on to 2018, I actually noticed in the photo on the bottom right, you're actually featured in a book here. You want to tell us what that is?
Yeah, it's the HR reached out to me and asked if I want to be featured in the recruiting guidebook. So it's all over Japan that they publish this for shukatsu, for the job hunting of a newcomer. So they featured my work in Mitsubishi and the experience in the overseas sales marketing, and the experience that I had in Indonesia. And from 2017, I was in charge of European market. So it was kind of also sharing the story of the transition from Indonesian role to a more global role.
Interesting. And what was that transition like? I mean, was that something that you felt inclined to do? I mean, did you want to focus on the European market? I mean, you're living in Europe right now, so that's a transition right there. But what was that transition like?
I really enjoyed changing the position from having to deal with Indonesian business to I found it's a bigger role. It's the global role that I wanted to also do in the beginning, because that's why I joined this company because I want to experience how it is like to do global business, not only within Japan. And Indonesia is my own country, so I see it as a domestic market. So for me, Europe was a starting point of a more overseas business, and it was a good transition. I speak more in English for the work compared to my previous department because we deal with our distributors and importers in English. Our negotiation and communications tool are mainly in English, and then there's a European headquarter in the Netherlands. So yes, more English speaking assignments.
Yeah.
Compared to the previous.
Would you be traveling a lot during that time? I mean, since you have the headquarters in the Netherlands, do they travel to you or would you do it?
So it's the vice versa. I had the opportunity to visit Amsterdam and Athens, and also when I was, because I was in charge of Switzerland. I was in charge of the market. I was doing the organization of how do you call it? It's like a European distributors meeting where you gathered around 100 of business partners from Europe in Geneva. So I was organizing remotely the event in Geneva from Japan. So I went there to do the really like coordinating in the field 2 years in a row. And so a lot of business trips to Europe. Well, once a year, and the business partners also come to Japan like once or twice a year.
Do you have a chance to fly back to Japan for work or for whatever reason, or will you be stuck in Europe from now on? I mean, if COVID hadn't happened, of course.
Right. If COVID hadn't happened, I would want to visit my friend in Japan for sure.
Yeah.
So Shira, now I'm gonna jump in with my question I had like 10 minutes ago. It's hot here, isn't it? I can
Yeah,
feel
it's
it.
really hot.
So you had, I would say, come to Germany. Is it because we have good cars too, or?
Yeah, why did I leave Japan? The first question. 6 years of professional experience there. Slowly I found that it's not as challenging as it was. So I wanted to seek challenges. So that's why I decided to leave Japan and to do masters here, and also for work, career opportunities. Being in the field of international affairs is what I'm studying at the moment in Hertie School, Berlin. Japan, the job market for such field in Japan is not as much as Europe, and also I want to link what I experienced in Japan and my background as an Indonesian to a broader audience or partners in Europe. So yeah, that's I wanted to seek challenges. I want to broaden my opportunities and develop more in my career or professional life. And car. Well, if I go to Germany, maybe if my plan A, plan B, plan C doesn't work, I can probably do the plan E, plan F, plan G. So,
Do you actually have that many plans?
well,
That's quite impressive to say the least. I mean, if you have a plan H.
Maybe that's some skills that you pick up along the way.
Yeah.
So you've decided to transit.
Plan, right? But if something goes wrong, you will kind of have to have a plan C and plan D to kind of back up the plan A that doesn't work.
And make them up on the way, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you have decided to transit, right? If I understood that correctly, you wanted to transit into a different field of work. So what kind of field were you looking for, or are you looking for, since you said that you're currently studying again? That must also been a transition again. I mean, working 6 years in that, and then going back. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 4 challenges.
Oh, sorry. What's the fourth?
Learning German.
So you're learning German, yeah?
Yeah, I am trying to. Yeah. Well, it's it's challenges that I seek, challenges that I'm experiencing at the moment, and like as you mentioned, those challenges exist. I experience it, adapting new culture from Shakaijin, become a Gakusei again. That's a lot of challenges, from a stable income to a student life. But I took the risk. That's what I decided for the future. So right now I'm figuring out, riding the waves of these challenges, drowning sometimes, but then getting up again, and trying to do the
There's
best.
something we definitely need to touch on like riding the wave, but maybe we can ask the question before that. I just want to know, what is the field, like what are you aiming for right now, and what field do you want to work at? Like what is, let's say, your dream or your inspiration?
Right.
Aspiration.
Well, I've been fascinating about international relations. So like creating a link between countries or diplomatic relations. So those kind of field, and also conflict resolution is the field that I'm one of the field that I'm very much interested in. Those 2 major fields are the one that I want to have experience more. During my bachelor, I was actually writing a thesis about conflict in Aceh. Aceh is a region in Sumatra, which affected by tsunami. The region wanted to be independent from Indonesia. So I was doing the conflict analysis and analyzing why there was peace in Aceh in the end. So it was because of the international mediation. So Finland was mediated the conflict, and it ended up with peace that lasts long, and even now. But sometimes I see this conflict management, international mediation, is quite similar with business. But why is that? Because when you negotiate to certain objective of peace, you will see the material negotiation. For example, whether I can get the money from this, from the reconciliation of the conflict, for example, or the power, which conflict resolution is definitely more complex than business, but this I'm sorry. It's really hot.
Good.
Oh, it is hot this week. Yes, I don't blame you.
You know, you can drink some water if you want. I think it's
Yeah,
good to take a break.
I'm trying to drink some water.
If you want to get a
Yeah,
stretch
please
as
go ahead,
well.
please don't.
So I liked your transition of water there. Now I'm gonna make the transition to talk about the fun part as well. So you've been quite into surfing, right? That is your thing.
Nice transition,
Yeah.
Bastian.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. 10 out of 10.
Smooth guys.
Are you gonna continue, or are you you just
no,
gonna
I
leave
thought
it
she
with?
was-
Shall we continue?
Sorry, I thought you wanted, like, she would jump in with surfing now. So, when did you start surfing? Yeah, do you surf? You can't surf here in Germany. How did you gain interest in it?
Right. I mean, yeah, it's the hot weather. It's like the time where you want to go surfing. And I started in Japan. In Tokyo. So Tokyo life was all about networking and building new friendships. So I met this friend now. I met her in a yoyogi park. So there was like some picnic in yoyogi park, and I started becoming friends with her. And we are really active outdoor sports kind of person. That's how we clicked, and we're like, okay, let's try to do surfing together. So we went for a class in Kanagawa once with a longboard, and yeah, it was nice. It was well, I wouldn't recommend to go if you go surfing the first time in Japan. I wouldn't recommend Kanagawa because the water is not that it's not that blue. It's a little bit brownish.
Not clean, you mean? I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
was the wave
The
strong
waves
enough?
were nice.
To
Yeah, the
practice?
waves were full of seaweed. Like you can make a miso soup.
Oh,
You become a maki roll from that thing.
Yeah.
go surfing, bring back some seaweed later. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. You're like fishing the seaweed to your hair.
Yeah. Because when
No,
you
it's
mentioned
not.
Tokyo, the first impression I got was, are the waves really that, like, suitable for surfing? So I just
Yeah.
presumed that you did something indoors, actually, like in an indoor facility.
No. If you drive to Chiba, there are a lot of it's so great. The Pacific Ocean, the waves are great, and they already have like the surfing community there. So if you go there, you will see a lot of shops, which they all will include the shower and the board rentals. I had my own board. I got it in a Yahoo auction.
How much you pay for that?
I think it was about 20,000 yen.
Oh,
Wow.
very good
Wow.
deal.
Was it a
Yeah,
big
it was
price? I
very
don't
good
know
deal in
about
Yahoo
the average
auction.
price of surfing board.
The average price? I've
Yeah.
seen them in Japan for
It's
like
Gunma,
40,
I
50.
think.
Mm.
No, yeah, the soft top will be like 40, 50, but the hard top it will be like Jumang or
Wow.
beyond that. It's quite expensive.
But Japan is not the country you think of when you think of surfing, right? Where can you surf? So you said Chiba, Kanagawa is not too nice. Are there other places?
I
Other
remember
places?
there was a
Chiba-
group of
Chiba is
people
pretty
who
nice.
used to go surfing a
Chiba,
lot.
especially in Kamogawa. Kamogawa is pretty nice. And Shizuoka in Shimoda. It was really nice to surf around.
Yeah.
The
So,
water is beautiful. There are a lot of surf hostels.
oh, nice. I'd imagine you'd meet a lot of surfer dudes in those type of places. Right?
Well, yeah, surfer Oji-san probably.
Oh, wow, even better. Amazing. So, I mean, surfing, I always had the impression, I've never done it before, by the way. So I always had the impression that it has a big learning curve. Would you think so? So how long did it take you to actually start, getting used to surfing?
I started in 2015. I finally be able to. So as you said, yeah, it requires a lot of learning, and if you're a person who easily give up, surfing is really not suitable for you. So you kind of have to be determined to be able to even like standing on the board. And the first 2 years, uh, my experience is just like inside the washing machine where you try to catch the waves, but then it was not a good timing. So you were like inside the waves, turning like a washing machine,
Yeah.
trying to let not. Yeah, it was hard. It was really, really hard, but the turning point that I felt okay, I will continue this, is when me and my friend now we decided to go to Taiwan during the New Year to do a surf trip. So we were there. We went to like the school for surfing, and it was, yeah, the waves were magical. And since then, I think it was 2016, beginning of 2017. So I got really, really addicted to surf. And that's also when I got my own board, like in spring. We went to a surf trip to Shimoda. And at that time, all of us, so we have four friends who we always go surfing together in Chiba or doing surf trip in Shimoda. So we usually drive there and put our surfboards on the top of the car, inside the car. And yeah, we're kind of beginners. Well, one of us was a little more intermediate, advanced level, but yeah, we were learning together, so it was great. Finally, we can, yeah.
Wow.
And also, we practice surfing to be able to maneuver the board by doing skateboard. So usually if the waves are not good, we just go somewhere and try to.
Yeah. Would you say
Is
it's
it similar?
comparable?
Kind of related, isn't it?
Hmm?
Skateboard.
3 months, same question.
Yeah, like,
Yes?
would you say it's it's like comparable to the experience of surfing? Because I skateboarded a lot when I was a teenager. It was like my kind of thing. So I mean, I never imagined that. I don't know why you laughed. But yes,
Yeah.
I did skateboard, Bastian. I did.
All right.
It's like, but yeah,
Did
I never imagined it was something comparable to surfing, really. I just feel like it
Right.
was a very different experience. Is it
Right.
more to do with the balance
it's
of
comparable.
standing?
Yeah, you can, but probably with the special surf skateboard. So there's this skateboard which you can have the same feeling with surfing, and yeah, usually surfers are using that to practice maneuvering board or turning for surfing.
Like one of these long boards, you reckon?
Yes, exactly. Oh yeah, Carver is one of the brand that people usually use.
Oh, this thing turns a lot.
Right. It is.
Wow, okay.
Oh, okay, fascinating.
Okay, that's
Well,
that's
that
actually very
exists.
interesting. I did not know these things exist.
Wow.
So you have one of these things.
Yeah, I brought it to Berlin with me. Hello?
We can
Hey.
hear you. We
You
can-
can hear.
Your background just changed.
But
Yeah, that's
somehow
actually
you
something-
you have transported into a new dimension.
No. Oh
What?
yeah. Why is that?
Tell us about your background. What is it?
I don't know why it changed. I didn't do anything. I didn't click on anything.
Oh, good.
it's
Oh,
weird.
good.
It's all right. I mean, Skype is just not cooperating today, but the background is at least relevant. It seems that's Japan, I imagine.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is the view from my from the Mitsubishi office. They
nice.
had an office since 2018, I think. And the view is so beautiful with the Mount Fuji, and you can also see Odaiba.
Oh, wow. That's very pretty. Where is it located? In
It's
Tokyo.
in Mita. It's
Mita.
in Tamaki Station.
Oh,
Ah,
nice.
that's what you get. A nice, beautiful view on Mount Fuji.
Yeah, nice, beautiful sunset view of Mount Fuji.
So
What's your view?
you seem very outgoing, very proactive. I mean, you got hooked on surfing. Do you do any like laid back hobbies? Like what do you do in your spare time when you're in your downtime? What kind of things do you like doing?
In my downtime, I usually read books or playing ukulele.
Oh, you play ukulele, nice.
Yeah, I have ukulele, so yeah, when I'm just chilling at home, I play and listening to podcasts, audiobooks, watching Netflix like many other million people doing.
I
Yeah.
hope you listen to Bento Bureau podcast.
Can I show my painting?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Wait.
Yeah.
You paint?
but
Yeah.
yeah, you kind of need to
I've
turn on
noticed
the.
a lot of people has been painting recently.
Oh, you disappeared and now you're back.
Oh, I see. Oh, I like this genre of painting. It reminds me of all these covers from Nujabe's albums.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me too.
The
Yeah,
thing
that kind
is,
of vibe.
we
Oh,
can't see it
because
it's
of the
merging with-
background.
Yeah, background.
But I saw it. It is really nice.
It is quite nice. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's kind of painting that I would
Yeah.
like the Nujabe's kind of genre of painting. I would buy those and put it on my room. I mean, actually, I have it here. Wait. I have.
There you
I
go.
want to show it.
That's better.
Pretty, yeah.
Yeah, are those watercolors?
See this?
Oh,
No, this is a
cool.
poster, not a painting. This is just a poster.
Yeah, similar
And
vibe.
you see the waves. Wow, it's so cool.
Hey, Long, where did you buy that thing?
I bought it in Japan
Oh,
Ah,
makes sense.
from the guy who did all the album cover.
Nice.
He has a website.
Are those watercolors, Shira?
No, oh, never mind.
it's an oil.
Oil paints. Okay, nice.
Mm.
What you been
Well,
reading lately?
What I did
Oh,
during
that's
my
a nice one.
quarantine time.
Look at that. Someone is definitely missing
Nice.
the ocean.
You're missing the ocean, huh? I presume you don't get much surfing lately?
Yes. In January, I went to Portugal to surf,
Mhm.
and I went to, because I mean, waves, the ocean is my surf. Is my surf. It's my source of happiness. So if I can go, I would try to go. So we went to actually south of France in near Biarritz, Hossegor, to surf last month.
Mhm.
And yeah, so only now once or twice a year, but usually before during summer we go like twice a week. And yeah, it dropped drastically.
You went last month,
my-
you said?
Yeah.
So what was the whole vibe like traveling to Portugal and during, this kind of unprecedented
Portugal, I went
situation?
in January, so it
Oh,
was
okay.
before the quarantine, before the lockdown.
All right, okay. It makes sense.
But France was, last month.
Yeah. I mean, around that time, I think they just started opening up. What was the vibe like there?
So we were staying in a surf hostel
Mhm.
where we were sleeping in a tent. It's a camping area, and there are other surfer dudes, not Oji-san. Yeah, it was quite the surfing hostel. I think it was quite full.
Mm.
But yeah, they put like this disinfectant gel at the reception of the camping, and when you go to grocery shopping, you have to wear masks. And yeah, there were some people from different countries of Europe that
Yeah.
to France. I think people wanted to kind of be outside, be apart from where they're living after some months of lockdown. But for me, it was kind of a relaxing. I mean, yeah, chasing the things that I've been dreaming of doing for 4 months. So yeah, it was a great experience, like a great refreshing trip.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, in the not too distant future, you'll be able to surf more, with less things to worry about. But Shira, I'm getting, just a little bit conscious of our time. I don't want to take much away from you. It's been a pleasure talking to you so far. Thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything? Is there anything you'd like to share with the audience? Any thoughts? Any story maybe just before we conclude?
Yes. Definitely. I really wanted to share my experience with Refugees International Japan. Is a non-profit organization that I was volunteering with while I was doing my work with Mitsubishi. So we organize fundraising events in Japan and in Tokyo. And one of the two things that I want to share is this organization is really their objectives are really to build the future for refugees all over the world. Like the project that I have is in the border between Thailand and Myanmar. There was a refugee camp there, and they're also trying to fund kindergarten in Lebanon, and also they're promoting entrepreneurship for refugees in Africa. So what they're doing are really great, and because of the COVID-19, I think there are some difficulties for them to raise funds and making events in Tokyo due to the lockdown and due to the not many events going on. We used to have a Kokyo run, so you can run 5 kilometers in Kokyo. That's one of the fundraising that they're doing. So yeah, I just wanted to share that this organization in Japan that trying to do events for a good cause, which is not easy anymore during this time. And if some audience are interested in supporting, please do so.
Perhaps you could share with us a link to check out more of that or resources. We'll be sure to share that with our audience as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I will share it to you then afterwards.
Awesome. Great. Well,
and from our side, you know what? Maybe we can even create a small snippet of what you just said and then post it on their site.
We'll do that.
Would be nice.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Shira, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking. And a big thank you to all of you that tuned in. Don't forget to like and follow Bento Bureau on Facebook, Instagram, and of course on YouTube right now. Subscribe, the big red button right there. Feel free to let us know your thoughts and suggestions as well by leaving us a comment or sending us a message. You have any ideas for the show? We'd love to hear them. Otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you enjoyed this, keep track with us with that sub button. This is Bento Bureau signing off. Gochiso sama deshita. Thank you very much. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much, Shira.
Oh, so